All right, so welcome everybody to the 10 Steps to Success. Today, we're going to talk about step number 6, which is plugging in. Okay, so just a quick review. We talked about having our why, right? We know that without a motivation, without a reason, without some kind of thing beyond just a simple, ooh, I think I'd like to make more money or whatever. No, it's got to be very specific. It's got to be very personal, very detailed motivation that will get you to actually participate more than just in a casual way, right? And that is defining your why. Then once you've done that, now it's time to start your biz, right? Launch your biz and get everything set up and all the different things we talked about in step 2 of launching your biz. Then it's all about setting the goals, right? Step 3 was about goal setting and okay, what's my long-term goal? What are my medium-term, short-term goals? And actually achieving them. Step 4 was about commitment, deciding I'm all in. This is for me. I'm going to do it no matter what, rain or shine, bad days, good days, whatever. I'm here for the long term. Step 5 was all about becoming that $1 million person, all about uh, the personal development that we need to be able to achieve great things, right? And becoming not just mediocre, but actual champions in what we're doing. So today, now we're going to be talking about how to make all of that real, and that only happens when you plug in. So this picture, I put in the. I used to have a different picture. I changed it just recently for this presentation because it's true. This is the way we are nowadays. We have a phone. We love our phones and we panic if we can't find our phones or our keys or whatever, right? We walk out the door, oh, my phone. Well, or if the phone is about to die, we're desperately looking for a way to plug it in, right? If you've traveled recently, that's just the way airports are now, right? They've got plug-ins all over the place. You can plug your phone in because that's how we are, right? That's society today is we're on our phones and we depend on them. And so when you get to that point where it's red, right, the battery is dying, everyone's freaking out, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So if we don't have a way to constantly be charging our phones, right, or charging our batteries, then we're gonna get cold. Our phone is gonna die, and we're not gonna be able to participate fully. So that's what we're trying to do. We're building an empire. Okay. So the most important step that we will ever make in building our network marketing empire is connecting people. It's all about the connection. Okay. We call it relationship marketing for a reason because we are creating these relationships and then maintaining those relationships. It's not good enough to just sell to somebody, right? We're not sellers with a one and done mentality. The key to residual income is retention. So, to have those people stick around, right? They're not just buying one thing from you and then you never talk to them again. We want these people to stick around and continue to participate and be part of it. So, if you want to build your organization once and then receive money from it for the rest of your life, you have to take the time to not only stay connected yourself, right? So that you have access to all the flow of information offered by your sponsor, your team, and the company, but also you got to make sure that those you invite are connected as well, that they're plugged in, that their battery is not dying, right? And this is how it's done. We have a system, okay? And it's not complicated. It really isn't, right? We have team leadership, we have the app and the website. Okay, we have the social media channels, we have all our online meetings and trainings, we have local events, and then we have regional events. Right, that's the system, and that's how it's been done for decades. Okay, we just added a few new things as technology has grown, but it really is the same basic concept that's been working for decades. So, first thing, team and leaders, right? So your team can play a key role in your early success if you know who they are, how they can help you, and you let them know that you're serious about your success, part-time or full-time, doesn't matter what level you're at, and that you want to be part of the team. Now, each new member should actually get, and this is recommended if you can, you should get a printed list with the names of all the team leaders, right? With their contact information, okay? Where they are, their title, all of that stuff. So people can know who their support team is, right? And obviously you as the sponsor, yeah, that's their first point of contact. But what if you're not available? What if you're on vacation? What if you're sick or something, right? Well, it's okay for them to be able to say, hey, you know what? I want to be able to contact the company. I want to be able to contact somebody else on the team that can answer questions for me, that kind of stuff. So find people you trust, right? You don't want to just, send them to anybody, but of course, have a list of people that they can communicate with if they ever need an answer or meet, like a three-way call or whatever. Okay. And then you make sure that you know where you are in the organization and that everybody on your team knows as well. Okay. Now, after that, of course, we live in the time of the internet now, right? Without our phones and our communication groups, we're in the dark. That's how it is. So we must ensure that we're seeing our messages at least once a day, right? Some of us, that's not hard, right? I mean, some of us we're checking our telegrams and our messenger and all that multiple times a day. But there are some who don't, right? That let it go by for whatever reason. So let's just try and get people to the point where they are at least checking in, seeing their messages, at least once a day or so. And it's not that hard nowadays because most people do have a phone that at least has Messenger on it, maybe a text group, could be Telegram, whatever. But we have all of these ways to stay connected, whether it's the company website itself, right? We have our own free website that the company provides and an app and all that, back office, everything with all the information. And you got to get to know them, right? You got to log in and see what's going on. Usually the back office will give you reports and statistics and things that you can look at and see how your business is growing, what's going on, who's doing what, who's being active and who's not. All those kinds of things. You can see who's enrolling, who's bringing in new people, all those different things. Okay, so if we can stay connected through the technology, then we're going to be able to be up to speed and know what's going on and see how our team is growing. Now, the other thing that's super important is the social media aspect, right? Especially for younger people, the younger generation, and they're glued to their phones. They have anxiety if they don't have their phone with them, and so that's just the way it is nowadays. We know that, but Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, Telegram, they're so popular and they're so easy to use, honestly, right? And why is it that they're so popular? Because it's all about being able to share, right? Whether it's photos or videos or just sharing how you feel today, okay? It's essential to have these tools. It really is to have a Facebook, to have an Instagram, to have a Telegram account, to be able to be connected to the pages and groups of the company and your leader, right? And your team, so that you can always be aware of everything that's going on and connect with the other members of your team. Now, the other thing that is super important is aside from the written words, right, the emails, magazines, or other company things that might come out, messages, many teams will use calls and trainings and internet meetings, right? Kind of like what we're doing right now. These calls and meetings can be a great way to stay connected and grow your empire from the comfort of your home. So make sure you get the phone number or the link of the whether it's a Zoom meeting or other technology that people use, and the dates and the times, because usually they're pretty consistent, right? You'll have a certain day that's for trainings, a certain day that's for an overview, a certain day that maybe for just for customers, right, that want to know what's going on and get a first look at it. Whatever that is, pretty much will be on certain days at certain times. So you want to know when that is and make sure your team know when those are. Okay, and then make sure you are listening as well. Then of course local meetings, right? So the local meeting, there's nothing that can compare to the aspect of being in person, right? Being able to shake hands with somebody, give somebody a hug, right? If they're a hugger, just being able to talk, because that's when it's something we call the meeting after the meeting, right? So you have your meeting, and the meetings are great, and they, download of information, all those things. But when you're in person, you just feel it different, right? It's just a different thing. There's a different, I don't know, energy in the room. Is as you're meeting with people, and there's little things that can be said in private that, in a private conversation, that kind of stuff. So it's important. It's just paramount to be able to have these local meetings in person, wherever you are. Organize them if you have a team already. If you're just getting started, find out who the leader is that's doing the local meetings, because it's amazing. If you don't, if you don't want your team to grow, then just do the normal Zoom calls and that's it. But if you want to actually establish and create those lifetime bonds of friendship and relationship, then having these in-person meetings is super important. And it doesn't matter if you want to do it in a cafe, in a home, in a restaurant, a hotel, whatever, right? Sometimes it's necessary to do it online as needed, of course, right? And because your team could be in the other states or international or whatever, and of course you want to connect that way as much as you can. But the local stuff is super important as well. Okay. Now, regional events. This is another thing that, and these usually take place with the company, right? The company itself will organize these, and they're usually more on a quarterly basis. Once it gets big, it could be on a monthly basis. They'll go do in a regional, somewhere in some part of the country once a month. But usually in the beginning, it's every 2 to 3 months, right? They'll do some kind of a regional event somewhere, and it's bigger, like way bigger, right? Usually, okay, we'll get 2 to 500 people in a room, and have some of the local leaders come and some corporate members come and train and all that. And those are also awesome and amazing, and you should definitely attend them as often as you can whenever there's one in your area, for sure, because these events are essential if you want to save time learning from the best, right? They're just fun, and the energy as you leave these regional events is like, wow, okay, you double your productivity because you just feel energized. You plugged in, right? You've connected your phone, your battery's at 100%, and you're ready to go. And then, of course, the national events, right? And these usually happen, once a year is typical. But again, just like the regional events, they're just simply bigger and better, right? And with product knowledge training, usually new product announcements and stuff. They've got just the vibe at these bigger national ones are incredible, because you're there with 2, 3,000 people or more. It's palpable. Like you just come away from that thing going, woo, okay, I'm ready to take on the world, right? And so this is where you can really dive deep into learning about the profession, the company, everything that you've chosen to be a part of. And attending these as soon as possible is the best decision you can make. And in getting people there, right? People on your team, if you can get them to the big either regional or national events, it really will change the way they view it, because it becomes real to them, and now their confidence is through the roof, and they're just more comfortable sharing and talking to people. Okay. Now, the other thing that's super important is avoiding shiny object syndrome, right? This happens all the time, unfortunately, for people, and it causes you to disconnect, right? You leave the campfire, you leave the warmth of the group, and at its core, it's just a disease of distraction, right? And its effects, it will affect all kinds of entrepreneurs, specifically because of the qualities that make us entrepreneurs, right? We tend to be highly motivated. We're always looking for opportunities. And so we're craving new technologies, new developments, and we're not afraid to start new projects and to create things. So it's kind of, it's one of those things that just comes naturally. And normally that's good. Normally those are great characteristics, right? But when it starts to become like an addiction, right? I've seen that way too often, where people, it's one thing to analyze and see, okay, this is good, this is maybe better, or whatever. But you have people that are like serial shiny object syndrome, junkies, right? Like they're just constantly looking all the time for the next best thing. And they're constantly chasing new tools and changes, and they never settle in and give what they're doing a chance to happen, right? Those kind of people that are just like, hey, you know what? It didn't work for me in my first 30, 60 days, so I'm gone. I'm on to the next thing. Well, no, we have to be realistic and understand that if you're going to do anything in this space, it usually will take, 6 months to a year, right? Before it really takes off for you. And so, and there's obviously big leaders who have big groups that come with them that can, rank up overnight. But the masses, the majority of people, that doesn't happen that way, right? And so you need to be realistic and understand, okay, I'm committed, I'm doing this, and I'm going to give it 6 months to a year, right, to get it to where it needs to be. So it really is just like a child chasing after shiny objects. Little kids, once they get to the new toy or the new whatever, they'll play with it for a minute and then they're like, okay, on to the next thing, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to give in to all the distractions that might be out there. This market could be marketing strategies, it could be marketing tools, there just could be you want everything to be perfect before you get started, right? There's lots of different things that can cause this. Most of the time I see it, it's because people want the get rich quick opportunities, right? They want they hear some, the too good to be true stuff, right? And it ends up being a Ponzi scheme or something else that's not going to last. I want that quick return, I want that quick result, and all it is just a money game, right? But if you want something that's real and long term, then yeah, avoid those things and stick to what you know is going to work. Okay. The other thing is recognition, right? Chuck Holmes said, recognize the behaviors, not just the results. So this is something that's super important as well. Praise is one of the most powerful motivators out there. When you take the time to recognize your team members' wins, whether large or small, I can promise you they'll remember it. So we're not talking about only, hey, congrats on ranking up or congrats on hitting that next level. It's the behaviors, right? It's hey, so and so talked to 5 people this week. Hey, so and so went and signed up so many people in a coffee shop, right? Or oh, hey, so and so was on every single Zoom this week. Congrats to them, right? So it's the behaviors more so than the actual achievements that need to be recognized, because when you recognize the behaviors, well, the behaviors turn into the results, right? And so that if you're recognizing behaviors, then other people will be like, hey, I want to be recognized for that. I want to be, spotlighted for being, because people want attention, they want validation, right? People want to know that they're doing a good job. I remember this years ago in a different company. It was, and now I recognize what was happening. I didn't at the time, but in a big meeting, it was more like a kind of a regional meeting. One of my leaders recognized me in front of the entire room, in front of the entire crowd, and basically said, "Hey, I want to congratulate Jeremy for, because he's been doing consistent Spanish calls for his team, and he's bringing in people from Mexico or whatever." And the entire room, there's probably at least 300 people in there. They all turned and looked at me, and I was relatively new, right? Like I had been in the company less than a year at that point, and they all turned and looked at me and knew who I was because my leader called me out right in front of the whole thing, saying, "Yeah, Jeremy is awesome because he's doing these consistent calls and stuff." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, who's this Jeremy guy?" Right? It was cool, and it motivated me so much. It was like, wow, I was recognized, and now people know who I am, and now, oh my gosh, wow, it was so cool for me, right? And it really put a little fire under me, because then I also felt kind of committed, right? Like, oh, I gotta keep doing that because now I've been recognized for it. So it's a very, very powerful thing to do those kinds of recognition. And it could be, just sending out a message into your group and your Telegram, whatever, in an email, right? Sending a small gift. Also, it doesn't have to be in public, right? It could just be sending a gift, sending a little thank you card in the mail or whatever. Recognizing somebody personally for things they're doing, for participating, thanking them for doing a training or whatever. That kind of stuff. Spending time recognize your team's victories goes a long way towards keeping them happy, loyal, and connected. Okay. Then, of course, we want to cultivate culture and community, right? We all want to be in the community. There's something special about belonging to a group of like-minded people with the same mission, vision, and goals. That sense of belonging will create wonderful loyalty. Okay, so not just to the company, but to the team, right, and the brand. So one way to create that community is to inspire collaboration, also, right, among your team. So you got to give other people the opportunities to work together, to teach, to train, and celebrate everyone as they have these wins along the way. So here's a few things that you can do to collaborate with your team. If you host team meetings, at each session, invite a team member to teach about a topic that they know well. You got to have a company event coming up. Well, have your team break into small groups and carpool to the event, right? So they're all going together and they're getting to know each other. And then, of course, periodically host non-business gatherings to give your team the chance to connect on a personal level. Think maybe like a picnic or going to a movie premiere together or having a catered dinner at your place together, right? Where it's not about the business. It's just about getting together, having fun, and creating those friendships. Okay. All right. Well, to end, it's all about this, the castle in the sky. If you've built castles in the sky, your work need not be lost. Now put the foundations under them. That was Henry David Thoreau who said that. If we can remember, we all have our dream and our why, right? Going back to step one. As we stay connected by engaging consistently each week, we'll begin to create that foundation under our castle. Okay. And as we build our team and we make sure that they are connected as well, we're going to assure that the foundation stays solid and firm. And because as soon as we disconnect, that foundation can crumble. So don't ever let that happen. Stay connected, stay plugged in, do all these things, and you will be assured that as long as you do all the other steps as well, right, that you will have success. So with that, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. And we will see you next week with step number 7, which is all about learning how to invite people to your business. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you all very soon.